Awesome, Team Eagle. Welcome to our team call today. I know it's not our usual time, but we have a very unique and special and unusual lady on our team call today. And I have the honor and pleasure of introducing Ilana Muhlstein, who, is much, I would have to say, much more than just the creator of To Be Mindset. This woman right here, number one, has a heart of gold. Her heart is in the right place. From day one, when I met her, I didn't know what to expect about this new program. And when I listened to her story, and she was sharing how it was not your metabolism why you couldn't lose weight. And I turned around and I looked at Saudi. I'm like, okay, there goes that excuse. I guess it's not my metabolism that I keep using that excuse. Then she said, it's not your age. I'm like, oh, I guess hitting 50 doesn't work anymore. Okay, never mind. It's not the fact that I was going through menopause. That was an old story already. She said, it's your mindset. And it was honestly a parent giving their child like a little bit of a tough love, a smack upside your head, like wake up. And I will be eternally grateful, Ilana, for you and how you poured your heart into us during that. It was a full year working with you. Yeah. And I'm so happy to see so many more lives that are being changed because of you. Because you said yes to literally to your changing your life.
To everyone who's listening. Yeah. Yes. And there's a lot more to it than just your mindset. I have like 3 pillars I discussed that you have to hit your nutritional needs and your environmental, you need to clean up, and your emotional responses to food. They all need to be cleaned up. And you get that with the To Be Mindset program, but it does start with your mindset of your ability to get past age or any excuse, because if you don't believe you can lose it and keep it off, then you're not going to. So definitely, it always starts with your mindset 100%. And along the way of, I'm not at a plateau. I'm getting slacky with my habits. It's always going to take sharpening your mindset along the way and starting there for sure. For sure.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, and it's, and we all just recently, of course, most of us came off this Transform 20 program with Sean, which was literally for me, it was not just about the fitness, it was about the mindset. And to see you and Sean collaborate was the icing on the cake. Like, it was bringing everything into a full circle. And so I know that we have here on our call today, we have some coaches that have been around for a while and some that are fairly new. So if it's okay, Ilana, if you can just share a little bit your story so everyone can really understand where your love comes from as far as this program is concerned.
Yes. So if you guys don't know me, I'm Ilana Muhlstein, and I grew up very, very obese. I usually have a lot of pictures of me nearby. I don't right now, but you can Google and find plenty of pictures of me morbidly obese. Starting as a young kid, I was totally addicted to food, totally addicted to sugar and everything you think, and know that would cause morbid obesity. I was eating for all the wrong reasons. I was binging, I was emotionally eating and abusing food, and it was showing, obviously, and it started really hurting my health. And my doctor at a young age was starting to scare me about diabetes and high cholesterol and all those things. And I had to start losing weight very, very young. So a lot of people get annoyed when they have to start losing weight at 20 and their metabolism doesn't work anymore after college or during menopause. And I had to start losing weight at 8 years old. So I don't usually have a lot of compassion for people who have to figure it out later, because eventually we all have to figure it out. And I had to wrap my head around that of I'm doing this now so I don't have to do it later. But it definitely took a couple of years of trying and figuring it out by going to weight loss camp. I would go to weight loss camp every summer. I would have to exercise for so many hours a day and go on this really strict diet, but then I would just gain all my weight back and more. And essentially the start of like this yo-yoing dieting pattern that I started at way too young. And eventually, thankfully, after a couple of years of it, I just said enough is enough. This is ridiculous. This is exhausting. And I only have this one body and it's not magically going to run away from me. So I have to start taking care of it and figuring out how to do that. But of course, I still love food. I still love flavor. I like volumes of food and I like living my life. Every time I meet a new client and they tell me about they did keto or they did this juice cleanse or they did this horrible diet, I always give them credit because I would never have done that. I definitely do not have that sort of discipline. And obviously no one really does, but can for a certain amount of time. And I, honor and respect you. If you can take that sort of dedication for a short amount of time, you'll certainly be able to do the 2B mindset. Because for me, like I needed a more livable approach. I needed a non-restrictive approach. I'm a rebel at heart. So if you tell me I can't eat something, I'm going to want to eat it twofold. So I had to figure out a better way. So I basically I'm a pretty creative person by nature and I love food, but I also always wanted to lose weight, feel good, be thin, wear good clothes, be confident in my body. And that was something I couldn't ignore because that was something I secretly always wanted to have. And I just didn't. And I was so sick of it. And I was so sick of, being made fun of or teased or being insecure or thinking everyone was looking at me. And I had to be done with it because I felt like inside I was a good personality. I had a lot I wanted to share with the world. And I felt like I was kind of being held back and imprisoned by this enormous amount of weight I was carrying. So I started getting on a mission to figure out ways that I can eat a lot, be full and satisfied while losing weight. And it started working. And I started losing weight on my own. While feeling really good and while traveling and while hanging out with friends, but just using my, different tools and tips that you learn about within the 2B mindset that make it all possible. And I wanted to start sharing this gift with others because it was working so well, because my friends were seeing that I was still hanging out with them, but I was just losing weight. And I wanted to make sure that if I was going to be educating people on how to do it also, that I would have the greatest credibility in the space and make sure that I was actually telling people things that were good for them and their health along the way. So I learned that the golden standard for nutrition expertise is becoming a registered dietitian and getting a master's degree in nutrition. So I so I can do that. And while I kept learning more about nutrition, I saw, it really just helped solidify the mindset piece and solidify the tools and the tips and make it go from a place of, I can eat that to, I just don't even want to eat that because I know how much better it is to eat this and this and this and how much more energy it gives and how much better it is and how accessible it can be. So I became a registered dietitian. I lost about 75 pounds at that point on my own. And then I started teaching weight loss seminars at UCLA. UCLA gave me over 1,000 people to teach weight loss seminars to over the course of 5-6 years. And they all started being really successful and more successful while seeing clients in private practice. And eventually I met Beachbody and I said, I'm really, really good at this thing. And then I lost my last 25 pounds after I had my daughter. And I said, I have a really, really weight loss here for you. Do you want to partner and turn it into something bigger? And they did. And over the past few years, I've been working with Beachbody and turning what I do with people one-on-one and in my seminars into a big, wonderful program called the 2B Mindset that Saudi and Mickey really helped to refine by taking part in the test group and showing us what we would need. So we started realizing, yes, we need a plateau video because people are going to hit a plateau and I need to help them with that. And people are going to need more tips and tools for overcoming emotional eating. And people are going to need tips on what they're going to do if they feel like they're falling off. And so with the test group, we started realizing the whole encompassing picture that would get people not only losing the initial weight with my approach, but how they're really going to make sure that they manifest these tools and tips into their lifestyles through traveling, through events and parties, and beyond, and actually keep the weight off. And that's what's been happening. So now, thankfully, there are over 200,000 people doing the program in the past couple of months, and love it.
Awesome.
And today, make sure
am I breaking off?
What'd you say?
Am I breaking off?
No.
Oh, okay, because I thought my voice was cutting off. Yes, thank you so much for sharing all that, Ilana. And, I love the fact that, you brought up about the whole thing, with hitting a plateau, because that is a common conversation that I have all the time with my clients, and also even with coaches that are on this call. And by the way, you do also have here on our call 2 other original bunnies. So we have Dee Dee that's on here on the call as well. And Norris is on the call as well.
Oh, hi. And Dee Dee, blows me away.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, wow. Talk about inner strength and amazingness. Yes. I mean, you guys are all in really good company if you know these 4.
So that is something that's really common where, we're seeing, and by all means, guys, please post questions in the chat. I meant to say that earlier before. Please post questions in the chat so that we can then address them later. But that is something that's coming across quite often, Ilana, is, a lot of folks that are getting stuck, right? And what I've done since now I am a 2B mindset mentor, and which, by the way, hashtag keeping it real, because I always do, working with you for a full year, we just got so much in-depth knowledge that it kind of took me a while to get 2B mindset certified, because I feel like, well, I have all the info, I'm definitely going to get to it. And then when I finally got to it, I realized, oh my goodness, I've been cheating myself.
Yeah, it's
and
really
I've been cheating my clients to be able to help them. Because there's a lot of folks that, they taste success with this program, they lose some weight, and then they go into a comfort zone. And then they go into a maintenance mode, and then they fall back and they start falling back into bad habits. And so can you share with everyone, why being a 2B mindset mentor is not only for us to help other people, but it really does enhance our own knowledge. I mean, that was the experience that I had.
Yeah. So I actually gave birth to my son in May and filmed the 2B Mindset Mentor certification in August. And I had lost most of my baby weight by filming somewhat, but even after filming the certification, I lost my last 10. And actually so many people on set, who had lost it with the 2B Mindset, lost their last couple of pounds after that filming of the certification. You need to be your own best mentor. You're in your head, you hear your own voice more than anyone else's. So you need the tools and tips to actually feed your own mindset with positive mentorship all day. And that certification really ensures you do so. So within the 2B Mindset certification, I not only show you how, you can help others really reshape their vocabulary and their way of thinking and their vision for success and understanding, the way you get into these ruts of weight loss or negativity or self-sabotage. The 2B Mindset certification kind of helps wrap around that and reshift it so you can spiral out of it sooner and go back into your positive place of keep wanting to reach your goals. Because that a lot of times people lose the first, half of their weight or the first 2/3 of their weight or 3/4 of their weight with the 2B Mindset. And that's all amazing. And you could be happy to live healthily there forever. But if you definitely want to take your own personal weight loss and your own mindset to the next level, I definitely recommend a certification.
The other thing that I also wanted to ask you, Ilana, because again, another very common topic, and I know that you went.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. I see I see that we're breaking off. Let me get my cord.
Okay.
Pause it 1 second.
Well, maybe it's. She'll be back.
What'll help too, Mickey, is like whenever she's talking, you mute, and when she's
No, I
talking,
did. I am muting myself.
That helps because I see that it goes away.
Yeah.
Take some feedback.
Okay.
I apologize.
That's okay.
This might be better. Okay, I hope this improves. But anyway, I'm now clicked in a little bit more. But ask me whatever questions you have.
Okay, so a very common question is, and that's something that, we definitely dove into a lot, it was the whole thing about cheating versus treating, because that's a big one. And so I know that I personally, when I was in the test group, I didn't have any treat meals for the longest until you said, cheating, when you cheat, there's a negative consequence that comes in. So if you're feeling guilty about having that piece of dark chocolate, then don't have it. If you're feeling guilty about it. But if it's a treat, yes. So one of the things that I've seen a lot in the field is too many treats. And so I want to come across with a lot of love, right, for my challengers, so they don't push back.
Right. This is definitely an interesting thing, because one thing about me is that I never restrict people, and I never tell people flat out, you can't eat chocolate chip cookies, because it's my goal to have people come to a place where they're so full and satisfied and in control of their eating and aware that they actually can have a chocolate chip cookie when it's really worth it and when it's really special, and when it comes with a mentality of, sure, I might not lose weight tomorrow, I'm full, I'm satisfied, I don't need this, but this is going to enhance my special experience right now or celebration, and it's really worth it. I'm going to fully enjoy it. I'm going to track, and I'm still going to go on with my day and be in a great place. And absolutely, you can do that with the 2B mindset. And what's really interesting is almost always when people approach a sweet like that, with that mentality of, I'm fully enjoying this, this is okay, I drink a lot of water, every bite and morsel is so enjoyable, people actually usually don't gain any weight, and they typically actually keep their weight off or even maybe lose weight sometimes, because their whole mentality and the rest of their day and patterns and behaviors were really in accordance with it, and it works. And then people get really excited and they say, wow, I could do that, but I don't necessarily have to do that again tomorrow. Now, that's obviously the goal, but people typically are not there at the start. And I really personally believe that life tests us enough that we shouldn't overly test ourselves on top of that. So if, some people, what I really recommend is, sure, you could have a chocolate chip cookie, but do you necessarily need to when you're in a state of weight loss? How realistic is it to eat that while you're losing weight? Do you really need to? Or could you, just stay on course, stay a little bit more focused on establishing all these really good positive habits before you, test the waters with that? Because if history shows every time you have one, it makes you want to have 15, and then it makes you want to, feel a little guilty or go into a little bloated, like a comfortable state the whole next day, and then want to avoid the scale, and then want to avoid tracking, and then maybe want to indulge in over and more sweets, then maybe it doesn't work for you at this time. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get to that great place where you'll be able to approach it with more self-control and enjoyment in the future, but you have to know and celebrate where you are at each stage in life. And it could be that having them in your freezer or making them fresh on a nightly basis just doesn't work for you at this stage of your life and your weight loss. So I think, treating is something I want everyone to be able to accomplish in a really positive and constructive way. But you also have to know, where and when it works best for you. And you also should decide for yourself what it really needs to be, because weight loss is a treat. Weight loss is a treat. Staying, on a bandwagon of eating more purposefully and filling and satisfying and delicious, good for you foods is also a treat. Having self-control, that when people offer you treats and you can say, no, thanks, I'm good, is a treat. And also a good pedicure could be a treat. So I think it's really, yeah, I think it's something that really takes introspection and just, I mean, like I have plenty of sweets. I don't necessarily only think a manicure is a treat. Like sometimes I do need a chocolate chip cookie as a treat, but it definitely takes like through trying, tracking, seeing what works for you, through practice with the 2B mindset, getting closer to, the weight that you really, really need to be. And then, experimenting with more of those treats within maintenance mode is also always a possibility. So I recommend everyone stay as disciplined and focused as you can while you really need to get off the bulk of that weight to feel your absolute best. Because when you do feel your absolute best, that there's no better treat than that.
I love that. I love that. Weight loss is a treat. That's my topic in my challenge group today. Oh no, in my success group. It's not.
Yeah, I actually just had a retreat in Florida this past weekend with 16 people. And one woman said that was like the number one thing she got out of the retreat weekend was that one line: weight loss is a treat. Weight loss is a treat. And that's why I said it here, because that really impacted her so much that it's true. Weight loss, putting on a pair of jeans that didn't fit you for a long time, like there's nothing that feels better than that. Like that sense of accomplishment, that sense of good health, that sense of like, real self-love and just a sexiness, confidence. It's all good. It feels great.
Weight loss is a treat. I love it. Okay. So I see some questions here, Ilana. I'm going to just scroll down through the chat.
All right, while you do that, I'm going to just chime in. Hi, Ilana. There's never a time where I listen to, even if I've listened to something you've said over and over again, like there's never a time that I don't learn something. Or get a little phrase that I can use, with my success groups and for myself. So I have a question. So what advice do you have for people so I don't want to sound like kind of messed up here. So let me see. I want to word this in a way where I don't like kind of like bash anything or anybody. So we come across people who already have 2B mindset, but they haven't fully embraced it. And so how do we address the fact that they have to go back and watch the videos? And like, I know for the most part, you have some areas in the 2B mindset certification to help us. But like for anybody who may be on this call, who has the program and maybe thinks that they should try something else instead of just going back and just, starting from the beginning. I
totally get what you're saying. So, this weekend I hosted a retreat in Florida, 16 women. And when I met with each of them one-on-one, they all had a 2B mindset water bottle, but they were all telling me about intermittent fasting, carb cycling, ketoing. Like none of them were actually doing the program. They were all doing a mix of noise that they've heard. And so this is definitely something we have to talk about, because at the end of the day, there's so much noise out there that it's almost, I give so many people credit who literally just stick to the program, just trust the process, and see so much success when they do, because it's such a tempting world of diet advice that it's, so what I really recommend everyone realize is that this works well. This is also backed by science, research. This is certainly, if you showed this program to your doctor, it would be very likely very, very positive with their feedback. And it's a very wholesome, good for you, good for your immune system, good for your gut health approach to eating and living that also produces incredible weight loss results. But of course, it's really hard to quiet that little voice in your head that says, I just want to lose weight faster. He lost so much weight in my office. I just want to try that. But at the end of the day, as much as we want to believe there's like this quick fix, cut everything out, I'm going to be able to eat this bar 3 times a day and I'll be able to lose so much weight. Like at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to keep it off. And I think everyone has to, one thing I like to think about, and I think it really helps if other people think like I do in this perspective, life is really long. We are living so much longer today than we've ever lived. And a lot of people may be like 52 and want to lose all this weight by, this vacation or celebration. But are you going to gain all that weight back and then have to start all over at 53 and 54 and 55. And it's exhausting. And I think if everyone just realizes that it is water first, and it is veggies most, and it is having lean protein at every meal, and it is about having carbs in a way that you can control and that work for you and don't weigh you down, spiral you into binge eating episode, and living a lifestyle and a mindset that works well for you. That really is the only long-term approach. When you lose weight with the 2B mindset, it does take effort, but it is effortless to stay off. And so you don't have to do this again. So I really recommend, like, as much as you're doing the program or you watch the videos, you kind of tapped with it, you got to really just fully immerse yourself in this and just get this weight off while learning what's working for you. Because once you lose weight with the 2B mindset, look at Saudi and Mickey and Didi and Norris, like, once you lose this weight and you figure out how an approach that works well for you, not like your cousin, not like your coworker, not like the person down the street, you literally can keep it off forever. And the reason why it works so well as a state of permanence and like permanent weight loss is because I'm never prescribing you what you need to eat at every meal. I'm showing you a flow, a structure, a plan that makes so much sense, but it's really up for you to make your own decisions and choices day to day. And that's really daunting for people, because a lot of people say, I can't control myself and I just need to be told what to do and what not to do. And I think people need to realize that you do have control. You do have self-discipline, especially if you've been able to follow any of those super restrictive diets in the past. You have an immense amount of self-control. You just haven't had a good plan to work off of. And you have to trust your ability that you can lose weight and you can learn how to eat well, because it shouldn't be as complicated as you're making it. And most people are almost intimidated by the 2B mindset by its simplicity, because they feel like it has to be so much harder or so much more restricted, and it doesn't. But you just have to stay committed and trust the process and be patient, because you will lose so much weight and keep it off along the way in a way that's actually really good for you, in a way that's actually like amazing for your digestive system and your immune system and your heart health and your long-term sense of well-being. Because all of these diets are really, unfortunately, like, one of the things that I'm really exploring now is just mental health and anxiety and depression and all of these things that are haunting so many people. A lot of it is connected to diet. And if you're trying to restrict yourself or not eat, past 3 p.m. or not eat anything, that comes from a package, like, eventually you're going to lose it. And then when you do eat or cheat off your plan, which, you should never feel that guilty, it makes you feel guilty because you did, and then you blame yourself, and then you get so down on yourself that you then choose food as comfort. And it's such a negative cycle that people are living in now. And I really want people to understand that the 2B mindset is really a more positive approach to eating, that you can actually get to the point where you can eat a cookie and you can have a cocktail without any guilt and while still feeling good in your pants. I just think it's a different approach, and people are scared of it because it's such a positive approach to eating, living well, and people are scared to believe that. But you have 4 people on this call now. I think someone's not muted. We have 4 people on this call now that are living proof, actually 5, because I did it too. So I understand that a big part of the world doesn't understand that it's possible to lose weight in a way that's happy and fulfilling. But you have Mickey and Saudi and Didi and Norris on this call in your group who are living proof that you can eat well and eat fulfilled and not have to feel hungry to lose weight. So I really recommend you just give this program your all, because everyone on this call is in better company than, like, literally 99.9% of the world as it relates to weight loss.
Thank you. You really covered that beautifully. And I 100% believe in the program, not only because I was part of it with you, but also, like I always share, you also are a testimony. You lost 100 pounds, and it's not a common thing to work with someone who has their own experience, as your own testimony. And so one more thing, Mickey,
and I have to watch it every day.
I know, right?
People think like, oh, I'm naturally thin at this point, I can do whatever I want. Like, what? Like, I have to be aware of what I'm doing and eating every day, and I celebrate that, because we all do, because we have one body. So like, what you put in it should be something that you put some thought to every day.
I agree. We were also happy to see you working with Sean, and a lot of the coaches on this call, they were part of the test group, and they did the program. any tips and advice you have for them to kind of like, so we've been hosting weekly calls to kind of guide and help people with the nutrition piece of this. And most people are doing 2B Mindset. So now that the program is over, some people are doing round 2, some aren't. Like, what advice do you have for them as far as nutrition is concerned?
Well, one thing that's great is, first of all, it's amazing that all of you did it, because it's so hard and so challenging. And if you can overcome and do that and stay committed to that, then you really need to understand that you could do anything. So I definitely think, you should take that with you. A lot of people like to do that workout for 20 minutes that is so challenging and then feel like they can eat whatever they want afterwards. But you should really do the opposite. It really has to be a mentality of, wow, I just did something so good for my body and just proved to myself how strong I am and committed I am. Then let me prove that to myself when I stay strong and committed and choose, the side broccolini instead of the side, fries or loaded mashed potatoes. You know what I mean? So I think it's important that people tap into that inner strength, confidence, and sensibility of self-care and use that to fuel your day-to-day eating choices. But I'll also say that exercise becomes more fun and a lot easier as you keep losing weight with the 2B Mindset. So, if you can do Transform 20 at your current weight and you have weight to lose and you really stay focused to the 2B Mindset while doing Transform 20 or while doing T25 or even while doing 3-week yoga retreat or even just walking outside now that it's nicer in the spring, then you'll find that as you keep losing weight through your food day to day with the 2B Mindset, that when you do round 2, maybe not this time, but in maybe 6 weeks from now, it will be that much more effective, that much easier, and that much more fun as you conditioned your body in other ways. So, I think you guys should all just celebrate the fact that you did it and look at that as a sense of self-care and self-love and not as a sense of torture. Because one thing I really wish everyone knew is that weight loss gets so much easier when you look at eating healthy and well and salads and water as a gift and not as a chore. When you look at it as a gift that you can do Transform 20, you have knees, you have ankles, you have coaches. Like when you look at that as an enormous treat and gift that you get to have, and you also then look at the fact that you have access to fruits and vegetables and lean proteins as a gift, then your weight loss just becomes so much more positive with such stronger momentum, and it really stays off for good, and it becomes a lifestyle that you want to stick with. So that's all I can say about that.
Totally nailed it. Okay, so I know you're a very busy lady, Ilana, but I see there's still a couple more questions. You still have time for a couple more questions? Okay, great. So Dorinda asks, I have a 14-year-old that has medical issues and is on steroids. Any suggestions?
Steroids for a 14-year-old is difficult. That, sometimes that could manifest itself into some weight gain or some, bloating. And that's obviously a very temperamental, vulnerable age when it comes to confidence. And so my first suggestion is just be such a supporting, loving parent and just keep reminding your child how amazing they are, how beautiful they are, and how supportive you are of helping in any way you can. And one thing that can definitely help, most conditions, I can't talk across the board and I definitely don't know what your kid is dealing with, but definitely drinking water first before your meals, definitely eating more vegetables throughout your meals. Like these are powerful antidotes. Like, food really is medicine. And when your child is seeking comfort, rather than giving them Cinnabons or chocolate chip cookies, I don't know, I keep saying that, or like Cheetos, it really is a gift if you make them a Shakeology or a daily sunshine with fresh fruit, with unsweetened almond milk, throw in a handful of spinach, handful of spinach, vegetables, these great fruits and superfoods. They do have antioxidant properties. They do have anti-inflammatory properties. So I think it's really amazing if you can show your love through your words, through your comfort, through your support. And then, if you want to show love through food, make sure that it's through helpful, supportive foods, that it's healing foods and not necessarily, just candy to make them feel better. Cause that's, again, it might make them feel excited in the short term, but it's definitely not, they're not benefiting from that in the long term.
Thank you, Ilana. Dorinda, I hope you're still on and you heard Ilana's response for you. Any word as far as a Facebook group for the mentors?
We're working on it.
Yay.
We're working on it. I wish I can guarantee it today, but
okay.
I can't. But we're working on it.
All right. Okay, so Sandra, I hope she's still on, has a question. She says she gets home pretty late from work, around 7, and she likes to get her workout done before she does anything else. So
good for her.
So she says then she has dinner like super late, and so that's a concern.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me like what time they have to stop eating by, and I really don't like to dictate for people a time. Like I never tell people you have to stop eating past 6 if you get home at 7 and that's not realistic for you. So I never tell anyone what time to eat because obviously we all have different schedules, but I do believe in being like dinner and done and understanding what you need at that hour, because if you're ending up eating at 9 p.m., ideally you want to be asleep by 11 or so. You're probably exhausted and drained after such a long workday and after a workout. So just understand how much water that you would actually want to be drinking pre that workout on your drive home in the later half of the day. So you make sure that you're staying hydrated, full, and energized. And, maybe figure out a way to kind of like break up your dinner in a way that works for you, that you're not too full, but you're not too hungry, but you get to a point where you can like go to sleep feeling good. We just don't necessarily need so much at so late at night if you're about to go rest. It's not great for your digestion and reflux. So maybe it's something like on your way home, prior to your workout, you're having some snackable veggies like pepper slices or cucumber slices or something like that with your water. So it's something energizing, not weighing you down. You can still do your workout with good energy. And then maybe after your workout, you have a recovery shake, you scramble some eggs, you have something that's decent, smart, well thought out, something that's going to keep you full, recover from your muscle, but not something that has to be this like all out, fresh fest or like gorging eating so much right before bed, because after a long day, after your workout, before you go to bed, like that's when you want to stay eating something light, fit, strong, like assembled, planned for, and not have it just spiral into, I'm not going to eat dinner because it's so late. And then it ends up being a handful of chocolate chips and a handful of nuts and some leftover this and leftover that. And then you end up snacking unsensibly for like over the course of an hour. It ends up being way more than had you just, defrosted some cauliflower rice and stirred in some cheese wedges like the cauliflower risotto and had, a leftover rotisserie chicken breast. So, I just think it's important that you plan for that meal. A lot of times when people come home really late, a common thing I find is they say, it's too late, I'm not going to eat. And it's not realistic. It's not realistic to say you're not going to eat. So it's better to be realistic and say, it's going to be a bar, it's going to be a shake, it's going to be, a soup. Like, what is it going to be that feels secure, feels filling, it feels sensible, feels trackable, so it doesn't end up being this like snack fest that doesn't stop.
Yeah, and that's and I believe that was Sandra. And Sandra, that's why it's so important to use your tracker and track everything, so you'll see the next day how your body responded.
Yeah.
So the choices that you made the night before. Coach Jana has a question here. She says, for someone with a slow stomach, do you recommend a certain amount of time between meals? This is per the GI doctor.
So I happen to have a slow metabolism too, which is what I think you are meaning when you say slow stomach, like slow to digest. That term slow stomach isn't such a medical term that I'm familiar with, but if it means that your body is like slowly digests food, that could connote somewhat of a slower metabolism, like a slower rate of burning off food for fuel. And I certainly have that. I like to spin that as a positive thing in terms, because it usually means that you're fuller longer versus like a really skinny little kid who has a super fast metabolism, who can eat whatever he wants and not gain weight. It's like, he usually feels hungry all the time because his food, burns off so quickly. that should be all of our worst issues, right? But for you and me, likely, who it takes longer for our food to digest, especially when we're eating filling meals that have high fiber and high protein, they don't clear our stomach so soon. And so we do stay fuller longer. So you do want to pace your meals accordingly, because if you're not hungry, you don't need to be eating. So if you have a really good filling, satisfying lunch that includes maybe beans. I know Mickey loved her like Mexican chicken lunch when we were working together. You always kind of had the lettuce cups and the beans and all that. Those are slow stomach foods. That's good. They're slow digesting foods, and that's a good thing. You typically a really filling, satisfying lunch like that, you don't necessarily need to have that snack. It's snactional. You drink a lot of tea in the afternoon, a lot of water, and then you can space out your dinner to be closer to like 5:30 if that works for you, whatever it is. So, I think, again, like Mickey was saying, you have to study your tracker and see what works best for you in timing of meals, what actually keeps you full the longest, what makes it so it's easier to drink more water, and what timing of meals makes sense for optimal weight loss satisfaction. So you're not going into meals too hungry and overeating, but you're going into meals feeling satisfied and controlled.
Awesome. Thank you, Ilana. So we have two last quick questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Unides asks,
Wait, hold on. Coach Jana said that I suggested 6 hours before bed to prevent acid aspirations. 6 hours of not eating before bed is I definitely never said 6 hours. I definitely recommend like 2 to 3 hours of not eating before bedtime. If 6 hours works for you, then that works for you, but that's definitely not going to work for everyone across the board. Just want to make sure that I'm not misquoted.
Okay. So the question is, can we talk about carbs, please, and how we can redefine them to be style?
Carbohydrates. I definitely, when it comes to carbohydrates, one thing you'll hear me say that I've never heard another dietitian say, is when it comes to carbohydrates, if you guys have watched the carbohydrates video within the food groups, I list out what you want to look for when choosing carbohydrate. And one thing I have on that list is, can you control yourself around it? So I think that's a really important thing for people to know, because, in the carb video, I also talk about how much I love beans and how they're one of my favorite carbohydrates. But then I was just working with someone who makes like delicious frijoles, like delicious cooked beans, and like can't stop eating them when she eats them, when she makes them. And that might not be the best for her, or at least not right off the stove. Maybe when she waits the next day and they're a little cooled off, it's a little easier to control them. But you want to make sure, the thing with carbohydrates is that carbohydrates tend to, studies have shown, when your first bite at a meal is a carbohydrate, it tends to make you want to eat more carbohydrates, and it tends to make you want to eat more overall. So I really recommend you all watch the Want to Eat More Sure video within the mindset, because that More Sure model of mine is my favorite thing. That's literally like one of my favorite models ever, and it's created for a reason, so that when you start with the More Sure model, if you guys remember it, you want to fill up on tons of water first. You want your first bite to be a veggie. You want to be veggies most. You want to make sure you have proteins to actually stay full from the meal. And that's actually when you want to style your carbohydrate. That's actually when you want to eat your carbohydrate, when you're in a sense of control, satisfaction, fullness, and you can eat in a way that like later on. So, and then if you want to eat more of the carbs, sure, but you go back around. And so the thing with carbohydrates, it's not that they're not the devil, they're not the enemy. You can absolutely eat carbohydrates and lose tons of weight, but what they do cause is they send, more than any other food group, I find carbs can lead to mindless eating and overeating, sometimes the most, especially if it's a good salted cracker or pretzels or chips or cereal, things that are so loose and open-ended, as I call it, versus like, a slice of Ezekiel bread with some eggs in the morning and, veggies in the scramble. It's controlled. You'll lose weight eating it. You'll feel good. You'll feel energized. So I just think with carbohydrates, like my number one thing I would want everyone to know is, watch the video, understand how to choose a fiber-filled carb that is designed by nature to be less addictive, better for the body, better for the blood sugar control, heart health, and so forth. But it also, I think it's just really important that people kind of rid their pantries and their countertops and their car consoles of these addictive carbs, because there's really very little room in a positive weight loss journey when you're being surrounded by highly addictive, highly tempting foods like that. That just makes it feel so much more of a struggle, because then everyone blames themselves for not being able to stop. But you should know there's a lot of science behind the reason that those foods are inherently hard to stop. So you don't have to like test yourself by, why can't I control myself and just have, you know, one handful of pretzels? It's like most people can't. So I think everyone just has to kind of accept that.
Awesome. And the last question is, any suggestions on how to incorporate recovery and recharge on the 2B mindset?
Yeah, recovery is great. Recovery is great, and recharge is great. I think it just really depends on what you're doing, what fitness program you're doing. I mean, if you're gonna have a lot of these are very high in protein. Actually, like from Shakeology to recovery to recharge, they're kind of in, like, Shakeology has a little more carbohydrates in it. Recovery and recharge have a little less. They're like more, they're actually lower calorie and higher in protein content. They're really great. They're really filling. They're really satisfying. I think it's important to use your tracker to understand how much is needed, so that you're still making sure that you're having vegetables and lots of water throughout the day and not just those supplements. And, you know, I think you just have to study your tracker. It's hard for me to say that blanket statement. If you're an endurance cyclist and you're going on, you know, like 1.5 hour long bike rides every day, then it's probably a good idea to have, you know, recovery afterwards. And then if you're like lifting weights after that, then maybe recharge before bed is a good idea. But it's hard to determine whether or not that's the best thing for you without really understanding your body and your goals a little bit better.
Yeah, and just to add to that really quickly, like the recovery, I'm not a recovery drinker. However, when I did Shaunathon last Thursday, my body asked for it. And so I had to recover, and then that was my protein, because it really keeps you full. I remember you shared that with us, Ilana, when we were in the test group. It's got 20 grams of protein. Like, I didn't need another protein, and it keeps me full. And then I just had a handful of berries as my FFC. So
totally, yeah. I mean, I think it's important for people to realize, like, it actually does contain some calories and a great amount of protein. So, I mean, if you're gonna have these things, then, you know, style your plate around it. So it's not, I'm having Shakeology, recovery, and recharge a day, in addition to tons of Greek yogurt, scrambled eggs, and, you know, grilled chicken, you know, because then you're probably missing out on a good amount of other food groups and not enough water and things like that. So just make sure that it stays balanced. You're trying to treat it as a protein. It doesn't have to be your only protein at a meal. It could be like in addition to something else, but make sure that you're actually staying balanced with the other food groups.
thank you, Ilana.
Thank you, guys.
So with that, thank you so much. You stay with us for almost an hour, and thank you.
I'm happy to do these more often. If you guys all get committed and you all get more people doing the 2B mindset, you want to become mentors and you want me to keep coaching you throughout so we can have more successful people doing this program, I am so happy to do that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, everyone, come on. You guys can do this. You have amazing company here, and there's nothing holding you all back from losing so much weight and keeping it off with the 2B mindset.
Yeah, and guys, I honestly, you know, and Saudi, I believe Saudi's still there on, we highly recommend for every single person that's on this call to get 2B Mindset certified. If we want to service our clients at a deeper level, and also hold ourselves accountable, like, I've learned so much through these videos in the Beachbody Live site. Like, I keep that link open, and I'm always going back to it and referring to it. And so you're more knowledgeable, and knowledge is power. And we're going to be able to definitely help transform more and more and more lives. So,
and it'll just make you feel good. Like the power of positive vocabulary and all the, I mean, so many of these videos are just, they'll just instantly boost your own mindset. So, you know, if you're coaching someone through any sort of program, you will benefit from the 2B Mindset certification, because it kind of just, it's a great way of coaching people in a very positive way.
You know what it's doing for me, Ilana, and I know a lot of the coaches here can use this advice. It gives me, like, I don't know anything. But when I listen to the videos, there's always something that I can use throughout my day. It gives me content creation. It gives me like good responses. So when I'm chatting with clients and I'm going through the process and I'm responding using your lingo, it gives me this credibility and this power. It really does, because the same thing that happened to me is happening to the people that I'm chatting with. So I lead with this, like I leave people with something that I can leave them with. Like if Mickey and I wouldn't have been selected to be part of the cast, we still left with something that you gave us. And it was the carbohydrates video. It was your story. It was like all that information. And I feel like I know that if you all get certified, it's going to be added knowledge and power. And also follow Ilana's page, because I get so many ideas from Ilana on Instagram. Like when I don't have anything to talk about, I just have to go to your page. Like you posted a video and you were showing your tummy, and me and Nora are like, oh my God, we got to go get naked and go show a picture. You know, because it's what people.
Because you're amazing.
Well,
yeah, you know what? It's inspiring. Someone asked me, I posted a picture of my body yesterday after 2 kids and losing a lot of weight. I'm pretty proud of it. But I also know that it would inspire people. And someone goes, where are your stretch marks? And I'm like,
oh my God, I saw that.
I was like, they're hiding under good lighting, but they're there. So I think it's, it's important. A lot of people say, and Saudi, I commend you so much for showing your body. Like a lot of people are like, what am I going to do with my skin? Or people ask me like, Ilana, do you have skin? It's like, of course I have skin. Who doesn't have skin? We all have skin. It's our number one biggest organ. Like don't try not to create fears out of reaching your goals. It's like, it's like, what am I going to do with all the money if I win the lottery? It's like, don't worry, you'll deal with that when you get it.
Well, I remember when we started the test group, there was a lot of bigger girls, and Dee was one of them. And they would ask me, because I had lost 100 pounds prior, and I'm like, you learn to embrace it. Who cares if you have loose skin? You're thinner version of yourself. Like,
and you learn to position yourself well, and you continue to condition, you continue to strengthen, and it looks good. Like it's definitely just you. It's not anyone else. And I think that's when you have a positive reflection of your body and you understand it's not going anywhere, and you're not going to ever look like someone necessarily else. You're going to look like you, but a better version, and a healthier version, and a more uplifted, and just more wholesome and positive self down to every single cell, because you're fueling it with good things. I think when everyone accepts that we have a long life to live and we want to live our absolute best life through it, I think that's a huge motivator for me. Like I always tell people, like every workout I do, every time I'm eating something well that I don't want to, or I don't like, if I'm doing a workout and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to like roll up my mat and get out of here. What always keeps me there is saying, I think about my age. You all can try this exercise. I just did this in my retreat. It says again, think about your age, add 10 years, and think about that self of yours thanking you for doing what you're doing today. That's how I think about it all the time. When I don't want to take off my makeup before going to sleep, I always go, 10 years from now, me will thank myself for doing this now. Putting on sunscreen, like all these healthy habits, I think people need to start looking at as it's only so long you can hide away from them. They're all there to help you, and everything you do for yourself today and tomorrow is going to help you in the long run with all your future goals. So
that's so powerful. I thank you for sharing this little piece of you that I don't know that too many people have given it the chance. But one of the things that I love the most is that you gave us that sense of confidence. Like we learned early in the test group to look at yourself in the mirror and embrace where you are throughout the journey every day. You don't have to wait to get to your goal. And when you speak, that always comes out, like that positivity. And I think that a lot of women need that today, because they're always waiting for that after picture, but they're not loving who they are right now in the moment,
Yeah. Guys, stay with it. The more you improve yourself, the more you impress yourself. You all can do this. All right. Bye, guys. I love you. We'll definitely do more of these. You're a great team.
Ilana, I just want to say hi really fast.
You blow me the freaking away.
Can I just say, you have changed my whole entire life.
You blow me away. I literally want, because I'm going to take a side note. I'm running late to the next meeting, but I don't care. Dee, you are remarkable. Because can I highlight you in your story for a second?
Yeah.
I need to talk about you more. Like I literally, first of all, Dee Dee started with PCOS, started with the whole thing. I won't be able to lose weight. I won't be able to lose weight. Then she saw she could lose weight. But then what she started realizing is it wasn't the PCOS. It wasn't this and that. It was a lot of it was Dee Dee, I can literally write a book on your story. I think you are one of the most remarkable people ever. I feel like you had 3 breakthroughs within the test group.
Yes.
3 breakthroughs that I remember so strong. One, we got back to relationship past history, how that was holding you back. Once you overcame that aspect of it, the head aspect of it, boom, you lost the next 40 pounds. Yep. Then it came down to looking at who you were surrounding yourself with and going dancing with. And that was like an aha light bulb moment. And when you realize that, boom, you lost the next 40. I mean, you are living proof of mindset, not metabolism, in so many ways. And I'm in awe of you.
You taught me coaching. You and the personal development and the program itself has made me who I am today. Team Eagle.
Everyone on this call is so lucky. I mean, if you have these people, I mean, these are just, I always say, like, don't be envious of successful people. Like, every time someone within your circle is successful, it puts like a feather in all of our caps. That means that your likelihood of being successful is increased. Yeah. So, everyone on this call, like, if you're in the presence of these super successful, fighting, inspirational people, that you should be super confident, knowing that you have that inside of you, and like you can be even way more successful than you ever imagined. Yeah. I mean, you're all so, like, you blow my mind.
Thank you so much. Love you.
All right. I love you guys. Keep spreading the gift of the 2B mindset and give it to yourself first. The more you give it to yourself, the more you're going to be able to help everyone else around you.
Thank you, Ilana. Thank you so much. And coaches, stay on for just one more second.
Okay.
Awesome. How freaking awesome was this call?
Wow.
Amazing.
I love her. I just love her. Dee Dee, you getting on at the end was everything. I feel like this was a reunion.
I sent her a message. I'm like, Dee Dee, you're not going to say hi to Ilana? She goes, you muted me. I'm like, so unmute yourself. I muted everybody.
Dee Dee, you are such an inspiration, Dee Dee. And, every day I go and I just take a peek and you just keep doing it. Like, you are a testimony of 2B mindset.
Well, I couldn't have did it without you ladies. You gave me the smackdown. Y'all gave me a little bit of whoop ass every now and then.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I would scroll your Instagram account and like, Dee Dee, why are you having fried rolls?
Right?
But seriously, guys, honestly, if you want to take your nutrition, you want to kick it up a notch, invest in yourself. Get yourself 2B Mindset certified. It is literally going to nutrition school. If you think that the videos are good, you have no idea what's waiting for you with the other videos. And I mean, I learned more in those videos.
There's always something more to learn.
Of course, and like Saudi says, we become more credible as coaches so that we're able to not only help ourselves in our own journey, but to help others.
Can I give you guys a tip? You know what I have? I have my binder. You guys all know I have my binder, right? In this binder, when Mickey and I were given 2B Mindset, we weren't given to it the way you guys got it. Okay, we were given to it like this. See that? And I went a step ahead and I put my photo on the material that they gave me. When I'm talking to people, guys, I use 2B Mindset. That is my closing tool. Whether they buy 2B Mindset from me or not, I'm using the principles and the education that I learned because it changed my business. And because it changed my business, when I'm speaking to people, I am using the tool of 2B Mindset because 2B, like you guys, you heard Ilana. Like this isn't a diet, this is a way of life. And so when I speak to people on the phone and I close them and they join our team, Mickey, that's what they're joining in. They're joining forces with me to become a 2B Mindset testimony, whether they're doing it or not, because that's what I learned. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dee Dee, isn't that what you use when you're speaking to people? Because I've seen your words.
I don't I barely promote anything else for the simple reason, and I tell them when they sign up, I'll promote the BOD if they're interested in working out. Most people that are doing 2B Mindset are not in the mindset to want to move their body right now, or they can't. And so I strictly go to 2B Mindset because I tell them, yo, our programs are amazing and they do work, but if you stop doing the program, then what? 2B Mindset isn't a program, it's a lifestyle. So you'll be doing it for the rest of your life. You're going to always have these results. And so that's how I do it. I literally barely sell anything else unless they're doing 2B Mindset and then they see T20 coming out and then they'll add on. Or they come into the thing with the mentality that they do want to work out, and then they'll get the 2B Mindset with the workout and the Shakeology. But that's it. That's what my business is.
Nutrition is the key, hands down. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for staying on the call. This was awesome. I am going to upload this, and then I will share it after I eat.
Okay, great.
All right, so really quick, Mickey. So we have 2 more days to achieve success though. What tips can we what can we do with this call that we were just on? Any ideas on what we can be doing? We have some of our gurus on here. We have Unides, we have Melly. Like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go now and play this on my computer, and then I'm going to go on my stories and I'm going to talk about what we just learned. And that is how I'm going to hit success cup. Anybody else have any ideas?
Well, I definitely want a copy of this video so I can share it with the people in my group who are unable to get online.
You're getting it in a few minutes. It's loading.
Yeah. And I think what I wanted, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this, but I would love to edit how Ilana shouted us out. When you just have to, when you play the video back, you just go to that part and you put it in your stories, and then you can go live about it and talk about how that made you feel, and go back to that moment. People are going to join you because of how you felt, because of an experience, and how you make them feel. So that's a great idea. You just gave me an idea, girl. I'm going to go and I'm going to talk about that time, because one of the times when my business was thriving the most was when it was released. And so what changed was how we were sharing.
We have finished 6 weeks of Transform 20. So one of the things is we can share our journey. And one thing that you can do is post a picture of your transformation so far. And you know how on Instagram stories, you can ask a question? In that box of ask a question, tell people to ask you a question, because you're going to come live to answer them.
Oh, I like that.
Here's a secret.
Repeat it again for those who didn't get it.
So post a picture of your transformation or something that happened to you.
Did it. I graduated.
The last 6 weeks, right? And you want to say, you know, I'm opening up my next group, which starts blank, March 4th. I'm coming here live at this time. In this box, drop your questions, okay? Sometimes you'll get people ask you organic questions. Sometimes you won't get questions, but here's what you do. Before you go live, go and ask yourself some questions, okay? If you don't have questions on your question box, go and ask yourself. And then the cool thing is when you go live, you can pull up the question box as you're answering. And people like to be interactive. And that's
cool.
Live, you can answer them.
I like that.
And speak about your journey. They want to know how you dealt with the last 6 weeks and how you figured it out. And then just tell them that that's exactly why you're inviting them to be on this journey with you. Any changes you're doing next, share them with them. If you want to interview somebody, pick somebody who had a great success story in the VIP Transform group. Go live side by side with them. Have a conversation, non-scripted. Just talk amongst friends and explain to people what it feels like to be on a journey like this. People need to see you expressing what the program can do for you and how it identifies to them, because that's your connection with the people who are following you.
Yep. And today is Transformation Tuesday. So perfect. I love that. I'm going to do that. Thank you, Nidis.
So I also know that there's a lot of people at work right now still, because it's 4:30. And if you haven't left work and you don't have time to go ahead and do this and you're sneaking on this call right now, you can real quick right now post on your stories or on Facebook a question like, who wants to see my 6-week transformation or my 6-week result? Use the hashtag transformation20. That'll give you time to then create this post that Unides is talking about. And then you can have that's like curiosity marketing. Also posting that on Facebook. Make a poll. Who wants to see my 6-week transformation? Put yes, and a box for yes, a box for no. That is creating a poll. Do you know that creating polls on Facebook increases your engagement by like a huge percentage? So that's another way, right, guys? And if you don't have people commenting because your algorithm may be on a standstill, then reach out to some friends on Team Eagle page and ask people to go and put yes or no if they want to see your before and after, so that when you get home, you can take your after picture if you haven't taken it. If you didn't get a result, like I haven't done my after picture, I have another week because I missed a couple of days. So I'm just waiting it out. I'm going to share some of my colleagues, my coaches that did the program. I'm going to share their transformation picture. Or I'm going to say, I haven't finished. Like there's so much you can do, but just keep it real, guys. That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Those are some great tips, guys. All we got to do now is take action.
Take action. There's
And
no reason why.
And follow up on the people you had conversations with in December. Please don't just stick to the people you invited in February. Go to December, go to November, go to October, because by now, those are the people who are ready to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and don't forget, there's only 20 days until spring. You should be talking about that. People have a lot of FOMO right now because they gave up on their New Year's resolutions and spring's around the corner. So they're going to be, on my like page, I posted, did you remember that it's only a few weeks until shorts season? That's another way of getting engagement in your world. All right, guys?
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye.